Today I am going to talk about articulated arms. Welcome to Barrett Works. In my Prusa one-year overview video, I mentioned that I was using an articulated arm here. You can see it sticking out of the back of the printer. When new printers come out, the community immediately designs usually pretty cool camera mounts to put a camera in this corner, around this side, swinging around the front of whatever printer. It's something we all do. We all download and print and then use. I've been using off-the-shelf articulated arms, which are a part of camera and video light equipment, instead for a while, because they're not very expensive and they have a great deal of flexibility and freedom. In fact, I have many of them. So I have the ability to take an articulated arm with a clamp and place it on a shelf, for example, and have a camera mount immediately without having to set up a stand or a microphone stand. The articulated arms, because they come out of the camera world, have 1/4-20 threaded studs on them, which allow you to attach various fittings. Now that's a fitting that I made, which is a square version of a NATO rail, which is used for mounting lighting equipment quite a bit. I've made a variety of fittings that can go on to these articulated arms or other mounts. This is a magnetic fitting that will hold the phones that I use as cameras. And then this is a fitting that holds the style of action cam that I use for time-lapse photography. And so an arm like this can be mounted from the rails in the ceiling. It can be mounted from shelves in the wood shop and here. These mounts are kind of all over the place. Periodically in these videos, you'll see them peeking out even when they're not in use, waiting for me to just pop a camera onto them. So the way these work, most of them have this one central adjustment. And when you loosen it, there's a joint in the center which only has one direction of movement with a Rosetta interface, 2 metal plates with crenellations. And I'm not sure if crenellations can be used when they come to a point, but think of like a mountain range that interleave, or gears. And so when I tighten this, those 2 metal plates, which have this pattern to them that allow them to mesh, get pressed together and that joint will not move. Interestingly, the 2 ball joints, one at either end, which are entirely free here when this is in the loose position, lock up as well, which is kind of miraculous in a way because there's no visible mechanisms and you think, hey, how did that happen? So this is from Small Rig. This one is from Newer. I think of those as name brands in this product space. This is a no-name brand, so guess what? It broke. Actually, it's not no-name. It's some name I've never heard of and will never buy again. But it gives me an opportunity to show you how this works. So what you've got is on the end of each of these, you've got a captive socket, which spins in a channel on the end. And then you've got the ball for the ball joint that's inside of there. This one popped off, so you notice the silver structure is not there on the end of this arm. That's what broke, rendering this side of this articulated arm useless. But it gives me a chance to see what's inside. So there's this pin, let's call it a piston, that slides inside of that arm. One end, the end toward the center joint, has a diagonal bevel. The other end has a cup. The cup is designed to press and freeze in place the ball. So this is to go with the ball and the ball joint. The other end with the bevel, when it's down in this arm and you tighten this mechanism, a surface that's inside of this central joint interacts with that bevel and presses this pin up. So as I tighten this knob, the pins inside each arm press out and they lock both the sleeve, the rotating sleeve that captures the ball, and the ball. And that's how they work. So most of the arms I have are that design. This one is not locked, so it's going to flop all over the place. The longer arm I have has a simpler design, nothing inside the arms. two plates, which when you tighten this, squeeze the ball in the ball joint. And the balls, in this case, the balls in the ball joints have rubber O-rings that help them lock in place and give them a nice smooth feel as well. So all of the longer arms that I've purchased have come with these types of joints. I'm assuming and believe it's because they probably grip tighter. And so when you have this long extension, you needed joints that were going to hold even better, where you might have a pound or two out here. The other thing that this style gives you is more freedom of movement in the center joint. So all three joints, when they're loose, in essence, with a little bit of turning of the mechanism, can go in any direction. And the last thing I'll point out about these is that the newer generation have pins that are on a standard called ARRI, A-R-R-I, and I've usually seen it all caps. And what these pins do, they're alongside the 1/4-20 bolt in the center. And if you notice, these pieces, even the ones that I've designed the holes to receive the ARRI pins. And so as you attach this fitting, now I haven't screwed it down tight yet, but the pins have begun to engage. It no longer will rotate. And so even when you've got some equipment that might have a bit of arm to it, so it's out with a bit of leverage over the central point, and if the weight is in a direction that would normally unscrew this, you'll have equipment on these old style arms without the ARRI pins that no matter how much you seem to tighten it, just starts sagging. And so you have to get clever and arrange things so that the direction in which they want to turn would actually be tightening on this post rather than loosening. The ARRI fittings get rid of all of that complexity. So I'm slowly, as ones break or as I need new ones, I'm getting all versions of the articulated arms that have these pins. And here's an older version of a fixture I've made which doesn't have those receptacles. All of the newer ones I'm making have those holes. So that slowly my setup is all transitioning. And this, which is a NATO clamp, which I purchased, comes with the holes in it. So by buying a set of these, keeping them available on the shelf, I have the ability to very quickly create very flexible mounts for lights, for cameras, for other equipment that needs to be held in a relative position to something else. And on the back of the printer, it's been a wonderful solution for the cameras. For example, when I went from one camera to two, created a rail and now attached two cameras on the end of that arm, I could just reposition it. I didn't have to print a new mount. So that has been a very useful addition to the tools that I use with printers and in other contexts in both of my workspaces. So I hope that helps. Take a look at these if you're interested. I'll provide links down in the description for the versions that I've been buying. I hope they solve a problem for you. Thanks for watching.